What's up, everybody? So this is going to be a little bit of like a resource video, if you will, ramble. I haven't done any more progress on my segment Terminator, but in doing the red, it got me thinking about the Tamiya clear range and doing that candy effect. Candy color effect is what basically that Tisca Ruby style thing is. And there's loads of stuff out there in the market to do it, and one of the ranges is from Tamiya with their clear range. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying this is all this range does. In fact, you can weather with this range. You can make colors richer in tone, warmer in tone, revitalize it. You can, like I mentioned, weather with it. You can do gemstone effects with it. They're also really good for tinting windows and clear canopy parts for miniature wargaming or scale model hobbying windows and lights and whatnot. They're really good for tinting clear parts, basically. And all of that is great. Plus, you can do these candy effects. Now, candy is... It's a tough thing to say. It's not quite a metallic color, and it's not quite a colored chrome. It's candy color, as it's known. It's kind of these vibrant tones you see that are over metallic, at least in the purposes of how we do it here in the miniature wargaming world and all that. So, what we have here is something that's not Tamiya. 5 paints from the Tamiya clear range, as well as smoke, which is my unofficial 6th Tamiya clear range color. I say mine because they don't list it specifically as a clear paint, but it behaves very similarly, so I'd say it's like the unofficial 6th clear. So we have is Tamiya clear orange, clear blue, clear yellow, clear green, clear red, and smoke. And the minitaire's ghost tint oil discharge. Now, with that said, we'll get to this in a minute. With that said, what I have done, because it's super scientific, is I took a piece of cardboard, I put lead belcher down, and then I put iron breaker down, and then I put, you can kind of see the difference from iron breaker into the center here is like a sterling silver or whatever from Army Painter. And then up here is Vallejo's liquid gold, because I did the Terminator over a gold. These paints can cover over a gold, obviously, and I was just curious myself and how that looks for the entire range. So this will probably be above the 15-minute mark, but I want to go over everything here in one go, and I think it'll be a good resource out there for anybody who wants to do a candy effect or what have you, or just want to know about these paints a little bit. So everything here is acrylic. Tamiya paints, acrylics are flammable for some reason, and they feel different from virtually every other acrylic out there, but outside of that, it's still an acrylic. Just don't thin it with water. Thin it with their own thinner to be safe. But anyways, we're going to start off with Tamiya clear orange. Now, for me, this is a little bit of a letdown because I was hoping for more of a orange fruit orange or a more of an automotive orange effect out of this. Not quite this cough syrup orange or lollipop orange, but that's what we got. So, actually, first let's look at the bottle itself. For a lot of these, the caps are pretty close to what you get, and when you tip it over, from some of them you can kind of see what you're going to get if you were to tint, because it's a clear bottle and it's tinting the bottle by virtue of being in there. So with that said, over a gold versus over a silver, not too much of a difference. It maybe feels a bit warmer over the gold because orange over a yellow versus being over like a really light gray metallic, which silver is. All of these you can get a feel for the difference in silver tone. Some of them are more obvious than others. The orange isn't bad. It's just that I do know from having used this on a bit in the past to test it. I don't have that bit painted anymore. I stripped it. But I do know from putting a varnish over this, because as you can see they all, including the minitaire here, dry glossy. If you were to matte varnish it down, this would look a lot more bronze-like than orange, from what my experience in the past, which is a cool effect, but if you're looking for orange specifically, a little bit of a letdown. Not a bad paint. Again, everything else, tinting, weathering, balding up, emboldening a color and whatnot. Great. It's just it's not the orange that I personally and probably a lot of you would be looking for. But nevertheless, that's what it looks like. All in all, still it covers well. It does act like the rest. It's just not the orange that maybe you would be thinking of in your mind. The rest of the colors, if you told me, hey, this is a blue and this is a yellow, this is a green, this is a red, the tone of it is what I would typically think of in my head for that color. And saying that, here we got Tamiya Clear Blue, a very dark in the pot look, which might make you think, hey, the paint gone bad, or is it really clear? And as long as it says it's specifically there, Clear Blue, X23, it is indeed Clear Blue. So, as you can see, putting it over the gold gave it a little bit of a green tinge, because it's blue going over a yellow metallic there. But even that doesn't look bad. It just depends, is that going to work for the army you're doing in question? And then the blue over the silvers looks great. This is a very nice, rich, bold blue. This is going to work for a variety of forces, including Ultramarines. You know, if you want to do Ultramarines a bit differently, you want to pimp out your Honor Guard some more, or Renee's Calgar, or your Primarch, this could be a way to do it, to really get that rich blue with all the gold accenting and whatnot. It can work really well for Chaos Thousand Suns. It can work for the Rainbow Warriors, for the maybe 2 of you out there actually paint them up. And there's other chapters as well that have that boldness of a blue that this can work really well for. It can work also for Eldar, you know, fantasy range stuff, whatever. It's a really nice blue. So yeah, it and the red and the green, I think, are the three bests of the range, in my opinion. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's Tamiya Clear Blue. A very nice rich blue that matches the cap pretty well also. Up next we have Tamiya Clear Yellow. And when you flip it over, you might go, that's not yellow, that's a brown sepia clear. What's going on here? But I assure you, as you can see, it is yellow. It is the weirdest of the bunch, because if you're looking for a yellow tint, it should do it, but it might feel a little bit more brownish. But when you put it over gold, not really anything super noticeable, which to be expected. And then over the silvers, you can see very clearly through the yellow. It's a very transparent color, yellow, anyway. When it comes to paint, being clear paint only further exacerbates that issue. But that's the point of it. So it's not bad. If you put a varnish over that, much like how the orange becomes very bronze-like, the yellow might become near gold-like, which might work for the gold you're trying to achieve. I haven't tested that theory. I want everything to be raw out of the pot and not covered up with anything. That's why I didn't varnish anything. But it's just some food for thought if you want to test clear yellow out. I did put it on a bit. So this is like 2 coats. You probably need at least 3 to 4 coats to really get it be more vibrant than this. But as you can see, what's interesting is, and I didn't intend this, I didn't pull it on purpose, it self-shades. And I figured it would, I just didn't think of it when I was working on it. I mean, it self-shades on the red on the Terminator here, as you can see there. So it's going to self-shade. This entire range self-shades, you could say, in that regard. What I mean by that is you don't necessarily have to put down a shade of that color into the recesses like you might painting traditionally. In prepping, so I'll go into prepping real quick. When you're prepping either gold or silver as the base for this candy effect, you're going to put a shade down. For gold, you're going to put a brown shade down. For the silver, you're going to put a black shade down, like Melon Oil down. Then you're going to dry brush over that. So that naturally is going to shade stuff for you already. Plus, when these gather in the recesses, they further accent that. They further accent that with their own hue going over it. So with the yellow, that actually is pretty cool. I would have to imagine, I haven't tested it myself, but if you were patient and you'd use several coats of the yellow over a light gray or a white, you could have that self-shading really working in your favor. It self-shades in a lot of the big areas. You might have some of the headaches for yellow alleviated by using it that way. Just food for thought. Furthermore, this is with a paintbrush. With an airbrush, you might notice a little bit less self-shading as it spreads it much more finer, but it still should happen. With that said, that's clear yellow. It is going to be hit or miss for you for the yellow effect you're looking for, how well it's going to work over that light gray, and then when you do a varnish over it over a silver, is it going to feel golden? Putting it over a gold is kind of redundant. I just did it because everything else did. So you know, to try, if you're going for a golden effect and you're putting it over a gold, well, just have the gold. But you might really like it, so hey, it could work. Anyways, from there, we're going to the one where the cap I feel matches the least to me, a clear green. With the cap, you might be thinking, oh great, a pale green color, not what I'm looking for. You flip it over, wow, that's dark. And then you put it down, and it's a dark green. Again, all these got basically 3 coats on here. So you get a real dark green with those 3 coats. It's going to be as advertised once you varnish it down anyway, so not a big deal there. Nothing too different being over a gold being versus over like a lead belcher or whatever. Obviously over a silver is a bit more obvious. It takes to the different shades well. It's a nice, bold, dark green. This green actually will work perfectly for Dark Angel's power armor, in my opinion, for the Green Wing stuff, you know, Battle Company, Reserve Company stuff, Asriel and the like. This green will work really well. In fact, that's what I'm going to test on a Dark Angel model. I'm going to use this effect over the silver. I'm going to see how well it looks over a model when it's all said and done, because I think I like this effect even with a varnish over it. I just like that. I think, you know, I like with the red, and I think I'll really like with the green. B, if you're going to collect Deathwing in your force at all with robes on them, their robes are green. The way you paint their green robes is very similar to how you paint Dark Angel green armor. As a result, not that they look the same, but if you have this, to me, a clear green effect as your Dark Angel's green armor, then at least the armor and the robes will look vastly different from each other, and that just, I think, is further helps out the cause, personally. Anyways, that's to me a clear green. Very different from its cap. The rest are pretty close, but works out pretty well. Over gold, I always feel anything over gold is a bit warmer than it would be over silver, but the difference isn't quite as, you know, noticeable, I guess you could say. And this is a flat plane. When it's a model, such as this Terminator here with clear red, you really notice the warmer effect of it being over a gold versus over a silver. When it's on a flat plane like this, piece of cardboard, without detail and all that on there, it's a little less noticeable, but still, probably outside of smoke, or even with smoke being there, one of the darkest in the range is the green. So up next is a color that needs no introduction. It's to me a clear red, very red, a very nice bold red. If you followed my segment video before this and my Thousand Suns test model before that, you have heard me talk about clear red ad nauseum, praise it, it's great. There's other companies out there, I know this. That's one of the things, I get it. You're probably going to post in the comments anyway. I know there's other companies that can do this. I know there's stuff from GW that could do stuff like this. But to me, Clear Range, I think, does it particularly well. And I find it really easy to get a hold of these guys, whether from a big box hobby store that really caters to scale modeling, or from sites like Amazon and whatnot. Anyways, with that tangent over, Clear Red does everything I mentioned before, plus being red in a nice shade of red, it works really well for gore effect also. And you don't have to worry about having a metallic color scheme and you want to do gore. It'll still look gory because you're not doing the entire armor in that color. So, as you can see, over the yellow versus, or over the yellow metallic that is gold versus the silver, it is, in my opinion and in person, a little warmer feeling, but it could be a little hard to tell again on this flat surface. But the red really takes the different shades nicely. So does the blues to a bit of an extent. It's probably the MVP of this range for all the different uses, including gore effect and whatnot, for us as miniature war gamers. If you're doing more traditional scale modeling with weathering and subtle hue shifting and warming of colors and whatnot, one of the others might be your MVP. But a really good color to me, a clear red. Works really well. So that would be the traditional range done. However, in my opinion, smoke is like the unofficial 6th color of the clear range. It would be like a really dark gray to black clear. If you're tinting windows, the traditional black tint, perfect for that. It's called smoke. You could put it over exhaust ports and whatnot and get a decent weather effect that way. But with 3 coats down, you can see it is pretty dark. And while you can tell a difference between the gold and the silver, it's still a pretty dark color. if you're going for a candied black, which I don't even think is a thing, it might be a thing in the automotive industry or in professional paints and whatnot, but I've never really seen it myself. This is probably the closest you're going to get to it. And it could do other effects with this too. It's not bad, and once you put a varnish over it to cut the gloss if you so desire, it'll be more black than it kind of feels now because of the gloss. It kind of feels like almost shimmery oil, like not oil like, but it'll be more of a traditional black look with the gloss cut out of it. Not bad. Again, over a model's a different story. You're probably gonna feel like you're ruining your model when you're using the smoke, because I have done it over a sprue and it just looks. When you first put the first coat down, you feel like you made a mistake. So you gotta give it 2 to 3 coats of time before you judge it. It is a darker color, meaning detail will get lost, not from being gunked up, but from being lost in the fact that it's a darker shade. With things like the reds, the blues, even the green being the darkest one, will start to lose some detail probably, but the reds and the blue, and even the orange and the yellow, you're really going to keep that detail noticeable. With the smoke, it's going to really obscure that just from being dark. And lastly is Minitaire's Ghost Tint range. This is particularly the oil discharge effect. It has 3 coats also, and you'll notice that it is a good deal lighter than smoke. This is used to do gem crystal effects. So if you want to do something kind of obsidian-esque, you want to have like the obsidian feel like it's got a green core or blue core or a red core to it, like just from either the light refracting off of it or what have you. You do the reds and whatever color normally, and then you put a couple of coats of this over it. So on the edges and the recesses, it's going to be all real dark, but then once you get to its core, to its center, it warms up to that color. It's a real nice effect for crystal stuff. It could work on armor if that's what you're looking for. Smoke could probably do it too, but being that oil discharge has a lighter tone to it, it's more translucent up to 3 coats, it's probably the better one for it. You know, you could use smoke or oil discharge here from minitaire to do black gemstones, like a black gem, you know, encase something in an Eldar or what have you. Obviously the rest of the range can do gemstone effects also. GW has gemstone stuff too, and so forth. I get that. I'm just stating that if you have these paints, they fulfill more than one role, as paints tend to do, so you can always think a little bit outside the box that way. Anyways, that's the entire range. Minitaire does have ghost tints outside of oil discharge. They have colors and whatnot that could, you could say, be something similar to some of the range here as well. But yeah, that's the Tamiya clear range, plus smoke, plus the minitaire oil discharge ghost tint for fun, as an added bonus, if you will, just to show the difference there. A really versatile set of colors to do a variety of different things. If you're looking for this type of effect, obviously, it isn't going to be like painting traditionally where you build up the shade, you know, the base coat, the base color, the shading, and the highlighting. This you're doing over metallic. It's a different way to paint. So, just food for thought there. Anyways, it's not going to work for absolutely every army out there. This color range anyway. Maybe you can find something in the minitaire range or some other range that does. You know, in case of that, more power to you. But just some food for thought if you're looking at the Tamiya clears going and wondering what the heck that looks like for this candy effect. Well, here it is. Anyways, thanks for sticking through this way longer video than most of my stuff. Leave any questions or comments in the comments section below. Hopefully you refrain from commenting till the end so you don't comment on something that I'm say later on in the video. It happens, whatever. But this is one company amongst a sea of others, and in particular I would say that if you go with Tamiya, you won't be disappointed. So anyways, that's it, and until next time, take it easy.